Welcome to 2026 and welcome to Wisdom Moments. I am very glad to be here today and talk to you about this specific topic, which is really about how manosphere is using women as scapegoats and these masculine, macho influencers that are online. I really thought this was some sort of fringe thing, and I didn't really understand it all that well myself until our producer, Spencer, said, Sandra, you really should find out more about this. And I went down the rabbit hole, and oh my God, it is a rabbit hole that talks about this sort of whole rising up of masculinity that is sort of, disguising itself. And I'm just, it's almost like there's an invisible war being waged on women. And that is, talking about that's really impacting our safety and the very idea of us participating in society and politics and economics. And, this is all online. And the stats of the rising of this is huge. So, in Wisdom Moments, what I thought I would do was just share with you some of these trends. And over the next, over the next year, I'm going to be bringing some experts in to talk about this topic because not only do we have to talk to our daughters about it, but we have to talk to our sons as well. What's influencing them? So let me just kind of give you a high level overview because this is all new to me. And, there's a lot to be learned from this. And it's something that's just kind of bubbling up and creeping up, as a lot of things have politically in this world. So, first of all, I'd like to talk about manosphere itself and its radicalization and how it's inciting hate against women online. And it's disguised in a way that talks to young men. And don't forget, algorithms bring these young men into these spaces, talking about their health and, getting fit and doing all of these great things. But then it starts this creep into the belief systems that they have about women. So this is an attack on their mothers, their sisters, their cousins, any female in, that's in their sphere. So one of the first things is to understand manosphere, and I didn't really know a lot about it, is there's multiple groups within that are online and that are promoting all of this. And they seem to be drawing young men in because they're helping them, they're supporting them, they're mentoring them. One group, though, which is called incels, and that stands for involuntary celibates. And I'm sure you've heard this, but these are men that, they want to have sex, but they don't believe that women are putting out for them. And it's basically women's fault. Yeah. I wonder why these women don't want to have sex with them, or why any woman doesn't want to have sex with them, that they have to be involuntary celibates. Then there's the red pill community. And the red pill community refers to basically online groups that are within the manosphere or manosphere, however you want to pronounce it, where members have become awaken that women are the root of all evil. The truth about society that is female centered is basically that feminism and women are oppressing men and they have to rise up and fight against it. So they view themselves as victims of political correctness and a system that's rigged against them. And then there's the MRAs, and there's probably a ton more, but I'm just gonna talk about three, which is men's rights activists, and I hadn't heard about this group, but very similar. They're pushing the ideas against feminism, that women are harmful, and also they're really less capable, anyways, financially. Some of them that I listen to, I'm not even going to name the names that I listen to because I'm not giving them airtime, but they were saying women aren't good with finances. Women cheat more than men. You have to keep your women control. You have no idea some of these ideas, that this belief system, and that it's okay to be hostile and control women. So back in the kitchen, ladies. And if you think these are fringe, it's not. I mean, stats are showing they're growing and growing. So, for instance, the Center for Countering Digital Hate, that's a mouthful, shows these groups, their content creators, have literally grown in the last year by 160% on platforms like TikTok and YouTube. And it's often because algorithms, if you're looking for, if you're, your sons are looking for, or your, nephews, whatever, young males in your family are looking for, things on health and anything like that. These are part of those algorithms. They also believe that, I think probably number two, I'm just looking at, there's so many of them here, the AI generated non consensual intimate imagery. So that's NCII, basically naked fakes. I'm sure you've heard about this, but it's growing. The tools are cheap. These clever tools, if I can call them that, are deep fakes, and they basically create very realistic pictures, naked pictures, sexual images, or videos of women without their permission. So this could happen to, and it's been happening to a lot of, famous people, political women in politics, any woman that's speaking out about feminism. They are doing this on a regular basis. Sometimes it's used for revenge. It's used as blackmail, and it's also used on very young women. So there's a huge mental health impact on this. You got to make sure that if you have young daughters, or you really need to be sitting around the kitchen table speaking to the younger generation about how they can be drawn into these rabbit holes, and that if someone is blackmailing or has done this, they need to talk to you and tell you this is happening. Create a psychologically safe place within your family, within your friend group. Then there's the generated misinformation and smear campaigns. You've probably seen just recently in the news, there's been a bunch of them, but the one that comes to my mind right now is Brigitte Macron, the French Prime Minister's wife. She had a huge smear campaign, and there were 10 people working on this. And finally, she had her day in court. I think it was at the beginning of the year. And, it was awful. I mean, just reading about it, that poor woman, what she went through. And these people were convicted. And by the way, there was 8 men and 2 women, which for me is just appalling that any woman would do this to another woman. And so they're spreading, like, as I said, fake stories to make a woman look bad. The stories often have these ideas that women belong back in the kitchen, undermining credibility, on and on and on. So these are things that we have to be aware of, and we have to shine the light on, and we have to start talking about. Another thing is the economic worries about feminism that's fueled by these anti-women groups, saying that basically because, women are gaining more financial freedom and independence, and, they're succeeding in their careers in universities, the number of women that are succeeding in the sciences and mathematics is growing exponentially. And so a lot of these men think that because women are succeeding. They're taking away from jobs from men, which is one of their biggest issues. They're stealing from men, and they're ruining the so-called traditional family. Not even sure what a traditional family looks like nowadays, but there's a lot of bitterness around that. And then there's the normalizing of online disrespect, and ignoring women's experiences. Even good men that I know have done the mansplaining, the age splaining. There's another video that I did, a short little video I did, where I went into a store and it was about technology, and I was, age splained and mansplained all in one, nice big package. But this is, talking women down, and making women feel like their opinions aren't valued, they aren't mattered. Heard a great story, or read a great story recently, of an author who had published a book, and she was at a cocktail party with a friend of hers, and they were talking to a man, and this man began to mansplain her book and the meaning of her book to her, even though she didn't say anything. She was absolutely, as my Irish mother would say, gobsmacked. But her friend said, "Hey, you need to stop. She wrote this book. She knows what she's thinking about." But this man, he would not listen. Anyways, my wisdom here is not about this is the answer or this is what we should be doing. My wisdom here is that we need to shine a light on it, and we need to have conversations with, the men in our lives and all of the women in our lives, knowing that this can happen. And it's the one thing about social media and all of these platforms is that it can grow like a snowball. And so what I'm asking you to do is really talk out about this, speak out about it, and share these stories. And I'd love to hear from you. I'd love to hear, what your thoughts are, but also what have you read? What do you know? What have you experienced with this whole world that seems to be going from fringe to the forefront? Happy 2026, and I look forward to be bringing more of these topics to you.